Hello there and welcome back. Today I'm going to be going over The Lost World Jurassic Park. Okay, so I had these movies on VHS when I was growing up and they were pretty much the best. I remember with this version I had the extended cut with like the bonus features and it had 2 VHS tapes inside of the box and I always thought that was the coolest thing ever. Okay, so the first one and the second one came out before I was born. This one just came out a year before I was born. So by the time that I was like 4 or 5 when I was watching these, the first ones were literally like just like my favorite things ever. They were one after another. They were back to back. I didn't know one without the other. So what's great about this one is that it's so completely different, but yet in the same genre, and it's exactly what a sequel should be. It focuses on the story of Ian Malcolm returning back to the second island and not the theme park island, and the company InGen is taking over the dinosaurs and the control of everything, and things go very bad very fast. With that being said, let's get into The Lost World, Jurassic Park from 1997. So I always was scared of the opening of this one. The Velociraptor was terrifying in the first movie, but seeing this little girl be attacked by the tiny little ones was always terrifying to me as a child. I loved that Ian Malcolm was back for this one and that we have a brief cameo of the kids in the very, very beginning. The whole establishing factor of this one is that there was a second island where they bred the dinosaurs and they carried them over to the main park, and there were no fences there, and the dinosaurs should have died because they were like lysine deficient, and if they didn't get supplements they should have died off, and that was like a way to control the park if something were to go wrong. They've figured out a way to thrive and survive in their environment, and that's crazy and scary, and so John Hammond is sending a team of researchers out there to try to get some answers and see what's going on. Jeff Goldblum, who plays Ian Malcolm, is very worried because his girlfriend, who is Sarah Harding, that is played by Julianne Moore, has gone to this island without telling him, and she knows how afraid he is of it. And of course, why wouldn't he be? And something that I really love about the beginning of this one is I always kind of wondered like what happened after Jurassic Park and like what the aftermath would be. And being younger and not understanding bigger words and everything like that, the beginning kind of just blew over for me. But now I can understand the things that were happening, such as the non-disclosure agreement that they signed before going to Jurassic Park. So whenever the whole thing went down, they couldn't tell anybody, and then they were pretty much blackmailed and they all look bad, and it was this whole epidemic that they were like trying to keep secret and under wraps. And so that's why I think this is a good installment, because by the time it gets to the end and everything breaks out and the T-Rex gets to San Diego, boy, they're all embarrassed about their part that they had in it, because Ian and Sarah and all of the other people were telling them about like this is what's wrong with you, like you don't keep dinosaurs in captivity. They shouldn't even be alive, so we should just leave them be alone. Over there, away. Something that's great about this movie is that it feels tropical again, and it feels like that big budget, and I really love the production aspect. I love watching all of like the greenery and the rain, and it feels like we're on the same kind of islands again. I think that there's a really good, interesting aspect of having Ian's daughter sneak on board to the island, because it's good to have a child's point of view always in these movies. I think they have a child in each one of them. And that's because adults and children relate to these movies so well, and if we were in that situation, we would be reacting to them very differently as different humans in different parts of their lives. So I like the dynamic of the cast, and also this has got some of the most thrilling parts in the franchise. The part with the T-Rexes and the child and the the RV, and they're coming to get the baby out after they're, fixing it. Then they get mad and they come back and knock it over and tip it, and then they start pushing it over the cliff. I just remember that being one of my favorite scenes as a child, and it causing so much anxiety and having it be so tense and feeling so worried, and just having my eyes glued to the screen whenever we're watching Sarah like fall over the edge and hit the glass really hard, and it's like cracking. Now I don't know if anybody knows this or not, but like what she did was extremely stupid and wrong. And I get that she was in fear or whatever, and they also did that for the pacing of the scene to make it intense, but if you're ever in a situation like that, like on thin ice on a lake or broken glass or whatever kind of thing where you could fall through, keep laying down flat. Spread out your weight evenly because you're distributing it all throughout your body. The more of your body surface that's flat and touching whatever it is, the less heavy you are in one spot. When she starts to get up on her hands and knees, she's putting all of her weight, all of her pressure on 1, 2, 3, 4 points on that glass, and you can see that all of the cracks start to spider web out where she's putting all of the pressure. That wouldn't have been happening if she could have just scooted away. But anyway, he grabs that lucky pack after the thing falls through, and just so good. Such good writing and good filming and dialogue and action. And then whenever the guy's trying to pull the trailer back over the thing, and then it breaks off over them, and then the dinosaurs attack him and they pull him out of his car. I mean, it's just one thing after another. And that's what I think is so really great about this movie, is that it's like, it doesn't have to be this most intense thing that's going on, or look how big and bold and how far we're going out there, and look how crazy this is. They're literally just, one thing is happening and it's kind of chaotic, and then another thing is happening on top of it. So now they're juggling the two things, and then now there's a dinosaur out there and it's a little bit scary, and then they attack, and then they go away and they come back, and it's just small things that keep happening that, I don't know, it doesn't ever feel like rushed or overdone or too much at one point. It feels so good, like it's moving the story along so well. I just really love how they're able to tell an emotional aspect of this story as well, showing all of the scenes of them hurting the dinosaurs and putting the tranquilizers in their necks and capturing them and taking them back and putting them in cages. I mean, that's a really heartbreaking scene, and I get like the point that they're trying to make with that, that all life has value, and that these are creatures and they're alive and they have feelings, and watching them all spend their lives trying to like break them out and everything is just, that's another one of the best parts, is because all of the dinosaurs go crazy through the little place there and just completely wreck the pitch meeting that they're having, which is a good thing because we don't want a park to have to succeed and go through until Jurassic World, but we'll come back to that. Anyway, so we get to another one of my favorite parts, which is where there's the long grass with the velociraptors. The velociraptors were my favorite growing up. I always remember being so terrified from them, and that was awesome for me because I grew up in Ohio and we would grow hay. So that we would have really long grass like that in some places, in some fields. And I just remember like cornfields and soybean fields and everything like that being kind of like a fear to get lost in. And so imagine if there was like carnivorous lizard dinosaurs that aren't even real dinosaurs. They're genetically theme park made monsters, or whatever it is that Alan Grant called them. Literally killing machines, and it's terrifying. And I always just loved that scene and how they were running so fast down the hill. Then whenever he's trying to call for help, and we have the whole battle outside where they're attacking the girls in the shed, and then Ian through the car. I mean, that's another one of the intense moments, and I like that the ending of the Velociraptors are in the first and the second. I think in the third and the fourth. I think there's like pretty much an ending with always the Velociraptor in Jurassic Park. That's kind of like a thing, I guess. But man, I tell you what, just like it goes on for a while in this one. Like, the Velociraptors are chasing them for a minute or two in Jurassic Park, and it obviously is perfect because that movie's perfect. But this one goes on for so much longer, and it's so intense because we have like the whole going up through the shed and on the roof, and then they're fighting, and then she falls through that light ceiling thing or whatever, and oh my goodness, just all of the ways that they're trying to get away. If they had $1 for every time they were almost eaten. But no, then we're coming closer to the ending where they tranquilize the T-Rex, and it gets to be brought to the ship, to be brought to the San Diego Holding Park. And the guy who did that was the one who tranquilized him whenever they were all sleeping at night and the T-Rexes followed the scent of the blood from their child. And it was on Sarah's jacket, and it sticks its head in the tent, and there's that whole thing, and the waterfall scene. Yeah, anyway, that guy who tranquilized it, you know, put it on the boat and brought it back, and then obviously it breaks out. That was a really, really awesome aspect of this movie. Like, Jurassic Park was so terrifying, but the ending relief was like, at least we get to leave the island. You know, that shot of the T-Rex like busting through the border that says like no animals and live food and all of this other stuff past the border into the United States, and it just like growls, and oh my goodness, it's so crazy. And watching it just go through a suburb and like mess up the streets, and it's chasing people and messing the buses up and everything. I mean, it's a really good finale, and it's so climactic, and it's just amazing, and I love the chase scenes, and there's always witty puns and jokes, and Ian Malcolm is such a great character in this one. There's not much about this one that I don't like. Some people might say that it's a little slower paced than the first one. I don't know if I agree with that or not. It's got its, you know, parts that are obviously very much more interesting, but all the way around I think it's a very good story and one of my favorites, and I just love how they were able to get the T-Rex together back to the end with its baby, and the whole plan that they pulled off worked well, and just Ian Malcolm and Sarah really worked together as characters, and I really hope that they come back for Jurassic World 3. That would be awesome. Literally, yeah, but I just remember watching this over and over and over again when I was younger, literally just talking about it all of the time. Jurassic Park franchise is one of the reasons why I went to film school in the first place. So this is the first Jurassic Park DVD. I forgot to show this in the first review for that, but yeah, there's that. Pretty basic, just says welcome to Jurassic Park on the back. And then this is the Lost World Jurassic Park. I remember trying to go get these one day, and they had the first one and the third one on DVD and no Blu-rays. And then they had no DVDs of the second one, only Blu-rays. So I don't know, it's just a funny combination. But then on the back on this one it says, "Return to the adventure of Jurassic Park." And that really is so true. It's like, they did such a good job at like bringing the magic back to life, and they feel like really good part 1 and part 2 sequels. Like, anyway, yeah, so that one was such a great one to go over, and I loved watching it, and it's one of my favorites. I can't wait to go into the ranking of the Jurassic Worlds. So let me know what your guys' thoughts were. What does Jurassic Park mean to you? Do you like the sequels, or are you like a hardcore original fan? Are you excited about the new one coming out? Be sure to check some of my other videos out. I've done a couple of different genres. Stay tuned, because I'm going to be doing the rest of the series and a couple of other ones. Alright, thanks. Bye.